Today, we are back with our last and final episode of Redefining Success. And today, we're talking about leaving a legacy and really what that is, right? Why do we do the works that we do? To leave behind something better than how we found it. And I think that as entrepreneurs and women in business in general, is that we come into this place because we want to be in a place of service. We want to be a part of something that is beyond and greater than ourselves. And this is what a legacy is. It's our impact. It's the difference that we're leaving today for a better tomorrow. And so, Amy, I'd love for you to kick us off and kind of share a little bit more about what is leaving a legacy, kind of in your own terms.
Yeah, absolutely. It was funny before we hit record, I actually looked up like how does the dictionary define legacy? Because in my mind, it's exactly like you said, making the world better than I found it. Making that difference in not only my life, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for everyone else. I want to serve others. So the dictionary actually gives us a couple different definitions. The first one, it's a gift, which sure, it truly is. And then the second one, it's that long lasting impact. And that's really what it's all about. It's about that impact that's bigger than us. That once we're no longer physically here on this earth, how did we touch other people's lives? How did we inspire them to make change in their lives? Because it's all about the ripple effect. And we all have the ability to do this. And that is the coolest thing ever is knowing that our actions, how we're showing up, the things that we're doing, that's creating an impact. That is creating a legacy. And a lot of times when you're in the process of going through the motions every day, we forget how much our actions are impacting others, how others are watching us and feeling inspired by us, yet we don't even know it because we get so focused on the hustle, of the grind, of the day to day that we lose sight of big picture. But at the end of the day, you think about it. How do I want to be remembered? What do I want people to remember when I'm no longer here? They think of me and go, oh, yeah, she made a difference in my life. So for me, it's exactly as you said. It's all about the impact on this world, making it a better place than I found it. How about you?
I agree. When I started my business, it was several years ago, but it still plays into today. You know,
Mhm.
I needed a version of me for me back then. And so when we look at the works that we do, we're here to serve a former version of ourselves. And I always think that we can't teach or lead or guide others from a place we haven't yet gone. So when we look at that legacy, it's about bettering ourselves each day. And that's when we talked about earlier self improvement, right? Our personal growth and our self discovery journeys. That it's not about perfection, but it's about the continuous progress day in and day out. Because each day that we're compounding on our own progress, we're leaving a mark and a better version of ourselves throughout our own through line is rippling throughout the people that we connect with, through the works that we do, through the content we produce and publish. So when we look at legacy, it all starts with us and it starts within. So how are we living and leading a life that is honorable and right and just and aligns with our core values, mission, and our vision? Because when we look at who are we here to serve, we're here with, on, and for a purpose, right? So that's the purpose driven life. That's the impact that we're making. So how are we aligning everything that who we are with that bigger vision, that bigger goal? And I think that when we talked about vision earlier on, vision is that long term because vision doesn't mean you've arrived at that destination. It's the constant moving toward. And that towards is that legacy that we're leaving. Everything we do has profound impact in some way or another.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about legacy is we're never really going to be fully aware of the legacy that we left while we're here on this earth. That progress compounds day after day after day. And when we're going through it, it can be very hard to see. It can be very easy to lose sight of the fact that what we are creating today will be our legacy in the future. So it's a very like ambiguous term that, this thought of legacy that we never actually reach the destination because the ultimate thing at the end of the day is that our life will come to an end and we don't know when that is. So what better day than today to start stretching yourself, start taking those action steps time after time because you don't know who is watching you and that progress will compound. And the vast majority of us didn't wake up as these overnight sensations, right? We weren't born into the royal family. We weren't born to a celebrity. But every single one of us, in one way or another, has the power to impact others and to really contribute to that long lasting legacy.
Right. And I think that's interesting because as we look at legacy and impact from a business perspective, but it could also be the legacy that we're creating and leaving in our own home. As a mother, right? I mean, you have your children that you're impacting, and that's a legacy that you're leaving behind is the next generation. And for me, it's about the business or the good works that I'm doing here on this earth is that that becomes something that I'm leaving behind. One of the verses that really resonates, I think, that with this particular topic is Proverbs 13:22, and that's a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. Doesn't mean that you have to have children, but it's generational. What are we doing today that will impact tomorrow? That's the generation. That's the impact. And that's the legacy. And I think that it's also interesting too, as we continue to do our good works, remembering to align them again, back to all these other episodes that we've done before this. So we have 11 other episodes that were strategically compounded to lead up to where we're at today. So each episode has little bite size that what are the values? What is the core integral beliefs? What are the ways that we're refining and defining ourselves? What are we working on internally so that externally it comes to fruition, right? And so one of the things that always resonates with me is what is the whole point of gaining the whole world, but if you lose your soul in the process of that, right? So going back to that soul's calling, what is the uniqueness that makes you you? Why are you here, right? And those are those questions that we talked about: identity, our values, our beliefs, our purpose, and our calling. So again, everything that we create, want, and desire is already found within. So that's a great place. If we tend to get lost in the work and tend to sometimes convolute the whole mission and message because we wonder, what are we doing this for? There's always a place where you can go back to the starting line of the basics of who you are. So I thought that was an interesting point to really think about in today's world because we see a lot of the externally driven of what we should do, how we should be defined. And that's the success mile markers by the worldly standards, which is why we've done this series, is because we really want to highlight that redefining success is a permission slip to give to yourself, that you get to create that freedom and fulfillment of living life on your own terms and creating the ripple effect and a legacy you want to leave behind through the works that you do here on this earth. And so it's Matthew 16:26, which is, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? And that was such a profound verse, I think, for me several years back, because it's like, I don't want to just work just for money or worldly success or the fame or the external influence. I want to know that the works that I'm doing have a greater, profounder impact. And that's the legacy for me. So how about you, Amy?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Once you switch from that external drive to that internal drive, I feel like everything changes. When you take the time to quiet the noise, to pause and really figure out, what do I want? How do I want to be remembered? Taking the time to rediscover who we are, that allows us to make that impact. Because, exactly to your point, now we're not driven by all of this external validation, all of these material things. Those are going to come and go. That is only a temporary happiness. But you have to take the time. This is a non negotiable in life. You need to take the time to unpack who you are. Because when you take the time to do that, then you can truly step into your purpose. Then you have that drive that doesn't rely on all of the noise around us that society has conditioned us to think, oh, this is what you need to be happy. No, it starts with giving yourself permission to live a life on your terms so that you can fully step into your power and serve others. At the end of the day, that's God's plan for us, right? He wants us to be there to help serve others, to make an impact. We are designed to be happy. God wants us to be happy. But a lot of times we're so engulfed in all of the external that we forget. We lose sight of who we are. We begin to adopt everyone else's goals as our own. And we're always striving. So, really asking yourself, how do I want to be remembered? And then start taking those intentional steps every single day. It's one step at a time because that progress compounds.
Mm. Yes, very, very much so. And I think that, as we wrap up this session and our series, it's again a reminder that you have everything that you need within. But if we don't stop to take that pause to seek and find, then we'll always lose ourselves and our souls chasing external. And that was something, unfortunately, I went down that path a few too many times and didn't know that. And I think that again, why we're teaching this or sharing this is because we have been there. And had I not gone, I have a book called Chasing Perfection. Perfection is very externally driven. It was about validation. It was about those mile markers, those successes and achievements, because I wanted to have some sort of proof and worthiness. The worthiness came from within. And that was the lesson. The biggest, greatest gift that I can give back to myself was to know that no matter what I do, produce or perform as high achievers, your worth is inherent in already knowing that you were created with, on, and for a purpose. You were chosen, you were gifted, you were already given everything that you need to go out into this world and succeed. You have to reel this in and stay so focused in alignment with who you are and on that mission, because it's easy to get caught up in the world of the shiny objects and the things that you must want. And there's all these temptations out there. And again, the comparison of what other people are doing, we can lose sight and we can lose focus on what truly matters and why we are here. And if that's you and you found yourself there, give yourself grace. We just hit that reset button and we begin again. So there's no condemnation, there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no beating yourself up over it. It's just now that awareness, and you could correct course in that moment. And it's never too late to go back to where you were, because you're starting at a different point in a different perspective with a whole new lesson and outlook. So those are the gifts that you get to give yourself that now sets you up for your success.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You think about the odds of us even being here are like trillions and trillions. We're obviously here for a reason. And when you take the time to figure out what truly matters to you, what is that impact? What is that legacy you want to live? Like you said, today can be day one. Stop making it one day. One day I'll do this. One day I'll do that. Make today that day one. Make the choice to make a change, and you will make an impact.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this journey. This has been truly incredible for us to share our work and the mission and message for us on this redefining success, 15 minutes of holistic purpose living life, right? Because if we have those intentions set, we can now put those as the stepping stones toward that path of success, however we define it, because that's the gift back to us. It's how we get to redefine us. So just want to thank you for being a part of this journey. And we look forward to connecting and sharing more into the future. Thanks for joining.